Hello, everybody. This is Wisdom Entrepreneurs, March 2020. This is the special series that we're doing during this interesting and sometimes challenging time. So this is the first one of the Wisdom Entrepreneurs connection videos. I think I call webinars. I think I called it. So it's nice to see everybody. Derrick will be joining us shortly, and probably some other people. I don't know. It's very exciting. Caroline is on with us. I'm really happy to say, and Caroline's going to start promoting Wisdom Entrepreneurs for us. So it might get quite crowded because she's a bit of a rock star at that type of thing. So we'll see. So we should enjoy this more intimate group while we're here. Suki, forgive me, I'm not sure where we met, if we met, or where you're from. Do you want to just let me know? If
No, I don't think we've met before. I think I signed up to Wisdom Entrepreneurs quite a while ago, and I just haven't had the chance to actually log on to a meeting and to actually talk to you or anybody else on the group. So I've actually had some time, so I've just logged on to find out more about this group.
Brilliant. Well, it's really nice to have you here. So often, this group has been going, it could be 3 years now. So I am the founder and CEO of a social enterprise called Beyond Recovery, which works with people in custody mainly, and also when they're out of custody as well, and the staff. And we started off this group as a way of sort of sharing stories from prison, and people like to hear the stories of transformation, and they it's just really hopeful and really exciting. So we started off by doing that, and then as time went on, as the years passed, some of the boys got released, so they started coming on and joining in to this show, this program, and people love to hear from them. So it sort of changed and moved as we've gone along. Last month, which was the regular group, or last week, I think it was actually, feels like last month. We got really practical, and people asked questions about their projects and things that they wanted to get started and so on, and we spoke about that. So it very much depends on what comes up on the evening. It's a space for us to be reflective and to take some time out. Normally we've got very busy lives, so people can use this space to take some time out and just sit back and enjoy the group. And it can also be a space for support. So if people have something on their mind that they want to talk about, a little bit like how we would run our groups, which is we're always pointing in the direction of potential and hope and possibility, but sometimes we get really busy in our heads and we get really worried about something, or we feel like we don't know the answer to something. So it's a safe space where people can ask those questions if they want to. Nobody in here would be giving advice, but if we can support somebody, and if we can just gently point them to where they could get their own solutions from, then we would do that. So with that in mind, one of the reasons for doing this regularly every Monday for the next few weeks is because we're in really interesting times, right? I was talking to Gary earlier and talking about how this thing is happening. We're all affected. We're all impacted in small ways and big ways. And yet we're all having different experiences of it, even though it's a thing. You could say the thing is happening. And so for us, it seems really like a real evidence that everybody's having the experience that's occurring in their own minds. And so I wanted to be able to offer people support during this time because, I at the moment haven't got in my head and haven't started worrying, but that could happen to me. That could easily happen to me. And I could have a freak out moment. But again, I just wanted to have this space as a support for people who might not be feeling as, might be feeling in a different way. So I feel like I've talked a lot. So I often start these groups with a little reading from Sid, just to sort of, so in case anybody doesn't know, it's Sid Banks, and I usually read from the Missing Link, just to get us into the right frame of mind or the right direction of mind. So I am going to read the whole chapter because it's only a few pages on seeking enlightenment. We all seek enlightenment, whether we are aware of this fact or not. Purer thoughts are the rungs of the ladder that lead to success, the universal center of all things that we call God. The individual center we call a soul. In the depths of our souls, we discover our divine inheritance. It is not the power of the word or the determination of our might, but the deep and silent workings of our minds, which bring the inner self and the outer self together in harmony. This is why many try to silence their minds through meditative contemplation. They seek a purer state of thought. My words may seem too simple, but I say the truth is simple. Look for common sense, plain old-fashioned common sense. When seeking wisdom, one is very apt to find that in simplicity lies complexity. Those who don't realize the profound nature of such simplicity are very apt to expound on their findings, losing the essence. Look for psychological logic, the logic of the psyche. Before the formation of physical reality and the contamination of personal thought, soul and consciousness were the same divine intelligence. Cut off from an innate wisdom, a lost thinker experiences isolation, fear, and confusion. This is why there are so many horrible atrocities throughout the world. Newspapers are full of wars, killings, children starving. Ignorance of our own inner wisdom is the cause of sin. There will be no sin without such ignorance. The malfunction of our own personal thought system instigates the breakdown of personal relationships and leads to the crumbling of societies, causing unnecessary suffering and sadness. The misled thoughts of humanity, alienated from their inner voice, their inner wisdom, cause all violence, cruelty, and savagery in this world. Since the beginning, the state of any society is a direct result of its conditioned way of thinking. As you think, so you shall hear. The sage hears fools and wise alike. The fool only hears fools. And I chose this chapter for two things. This paragraph, cut off from innate wisdom, a lost thinker experiences isolation, fear, and confusion. Which I think is so pertinent for what we're going through right now, because the fear that we're feeling when we're feeling fear, and the confusion that we're feeling is purely a disconnection from our belief or our knowledge that there is innate wisdom, rather than the other way around, because we're never without it. So that spoke to me greatly, and is helpful to me. And during this last, I was late to the party because I didn't take it very seriously, the virus, for a long time. I was one of those carry on regardless type people, and I was aware of what's going on around, but I don't watch the news, so I wasn't really woken up to it, and didn't really do anything different from what I was doing. Didn't think anything would be different. And literally in a moment, 2 Sundays ago, one of our team was ill. And when I found out that person was ill, I had like several thoughts in quick succession, because it looked like they might have had the virus. One was, I was with that person a couple of days ago. 2 was, I don't want to pass this on to the lads and to the people that we work with. And then 3 was, maybe I should take this a bit more seriously than I have been. And I didn't realise at the time, but what happened was I very quickly woke up. I had a different level of awareness of the whole virus situation than I had minutes before. And then just tons of common sense came in. I would call it wisdom, but it's common sense. So as the team know, Alan knows that in 1 minute I was texting him saying, can you go to this event that this other person can't go to because they're poorly? And in the next minute I was texting saying, and I said, can you be on our team call at 8:45 in the morning? But in the next minute I'd already thought, hang on a minute, we need to stop travel. So the awareness came in, and what came with it was some really just common sense, what needs to happen next. Not what needs to happen in a month, or what are we going to do about all the contracts that aren't in place yet, or what's the danger of this, but just step by step common sense things. So the very next thing, and this is before the government even started their briefings really, or maybe they might have started them before, I didn't know about them, but before we were told not to travel, we had a team meeting. We all decided it was sensible to not travel. As it happens during that day, I literally watched the jam-packed diary just puffs of smoke, cyber smoke, as each thing got cancelled and came out of the diary. And then for me, it very much looked like making sure, taking care of the people that are in my vicinity, that I work with, and then what can we do for the people that we support. So that was the next bit of common sense, which was, how do we support them if we can't go and see them? And each day that unfolded for me. Now I know there's other people, and just to be clear, I absolutely have no idea what's going to happen to my business. I absolutely have no idea. All of the things that I've been working on for several months, some things for years, are all up in the air. We've again, through common sense, sat down today and worked out what can we strip back, how can we keep going for as long as we can keep going, and what might we do. So all of that is the same for me. That all exists for me. But what happened was, instead of getting scared of that or worried about that or panicked about that, I just went into a real creative mode of, how can we support people? What are the simple things that we can do? What are the more exciting things that we can do? Maybe this is a new way of doing business in the future. What technology can we use? Technology that I've been wanting to play with, but life's too busy to play with new things. So what can we do about that? And also for myself, like, how can I support myself? Maybe some difficult times are coming. So are there some other things that I can do put in place now that support me in the future? So for instance, I spent yesterday doing a masterclass on how to narrate books on Audible. By the way, 80% of Audible books are erotic. So if you hear my voice and some erotica, you'll know why I'm doing it. I'll probably use a pseudonym if I do that. But yeah, so it appeared to me, respectfully, because we are going to, bad things are going to happen during this time. We're going to lose people. Some people have already lost people. We're going to lose businesses. Things are going to be all turned over. But for me, it kept looking like, and from that, and devastation and revival is the natural cycle of things. And from that devastation, there will be green shoots. There will be possibilities. There'll be potential now that we didn't see before. Personally and business-wise and otherwise, there'll be all sorts of things. And maybe for some people, it's not the right time right now to be thinking about that. But that's where I was seeing it. And it's not because I'm a special person or I have a different set of skills or I have some safety net or anything else. It's purely because my thought and consciousness creates my reality, and that's what it looked like to me right now. And everybody on here will be having a different experience, and everybody in the world will be having a different experience. But I wanted to talk about that experience because it's such a good highlight of how one person's reality can look very, very, very different from others. And the other thing that I noticed, so to me last week was an adaptation week. It was right, okay, there's some things to adapt to now, and to not bury my head in the sand, and to realise, and there might be some things, like I said, like looking at finances and cutting back on certain things or whatever. The other thing I noticed was incredible kindnesses, like kindness everywhere. People putting notes through older people's doors, people stocking up so that they could help other people that they know in their community who won't have been able to stock up. People reaching out online, all sorts of kindnesses, and like a raised consciousness, and of course a healing in the earth, like all these things that we keep seeing about Venice, for instance, where the canals now you can see the fish. And I mean, there's hundreds of examples of lots and lots of people have stopped, and so immediately the earth starts healing, and the things that we've churned up start healing. And people have been putting out motivational things on the internet and so on. So it's a really, really interesting time. But I never felt, as I read this paragraph, cut off from innate wisdom, a lost thinker experiences isolation, fear and confusion. I never felt cut off from that innate wisdom, and that's the reason I didn't experience fear and confusion and isolation. Not because I can't, but because I can, but I never felt cut off from that innate wisdom. How's this landing for people? It's nice to see all the other people that joined. Naomi, Ron, Alan, Derrick, Dal, Anna. Does anyone want to say anything at this moment, or ask anything, or share anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to say we was talking earlier on, wasn't we, about how it's for me it's been an incredible time to get a different insight into just the how we understand everything to work. To me, has just come so much to the fore in the last 2 or 3 weeks, as literally our world has changed day by day. I mean, I said to you earlier on, even today, that I found out that because of the asthma I take, the inhaler I take, I've now got to take these shielded precautions, which are different. But just as you just can't help thinking that even this, as terrible as it is, and I don't want to belittle it because it's horrendous, and there's people dying, and when you see what's going on in places like Italy, it will cause a hell of a lot of pain and sorrow. But at the same time, there seems to be something underlying with it, and it just seems to be something that's part of just mind, and because at the same time, the irony of it, the very nature of the virus is, as individuals, the effect it has on us, it clogs up our lungs and stops us breathing. But by doing that, it's putting a sequence of events that, as far as the earth is concerned and Mother Nature, it's having the opposite effect, which is, for me, just mind blowing. And in that, and just the very, what else could have happened on this planet that would have got the whole of the human race slowing down to the degree that we now are, and that in itself is is incredible, and I think it'd be amazing to be seen what positives come out of that, because people will be literally slowing down to a degree that they have never done in their lives, providing they take notice of everything that's happening. And while I said to you earlier on, I think we're blessed in that we have a huge head start with how we see things and how we know nature to be. But I don't think anybody with what's going on at the moment won't see something in that, hopefully. And I think that in itself is incredible. Don't get me wrong, along with the huge amount of anxiety and stress people are having, since my partner herself is really suffering from that at the moment. But that in itself goes to how different it is, because it's the exact same circumstances for us both, but we're having two totally different experiences of it. And yeah, that's incredible.
Mm.
Yeah, you see what you say, Gary, it's like amazing, man, because only if you slow down that much do you actually see what you said about, you see how it's affecting the earth and the positives, if you can even say that are coming through the earth. But a lot of people's focus is on the fear and anxiety and fear of the future, of what's going to happen or what might happen to them. But like you said, the bigger picture really is underlying what affect that. And it's funny that it goes from their lungs. What we are our lungs can affect what Jacqueline said about the fish in Venice. Who would have thought that? But in some way, there's other things that we can't see that it's affecting. But only when you slow right down and get past all the fear and everything else, do you notice things like that. I'm sure not a lot of people would have noticed that, to say what the reverse side of effect is having. I think that's amazing what you just said. I think that's because I wasn't looking at it like that at all. I was, and a bit like Jacqueline, I wasn't really taking it that seriously. But I noticed when the government said you shouldn't be going out to crowded places and all of that, and I woke up last Monday, and I was going to send my children to school, and I said, hold on, if he said I shouldn't be going into a crowded place, I didn't send my children into school, and that just felt right for me, because that's what he said. And that's when I really started to take it like really seriously, and effects it could start to have. But even in that moment, I didn't look and think, okay, when everyone slowed down, the positives it might have. I've never even looked at it like that at all, and that's still just blowing my head now. Like you said, it's the one. There's nothing else that could have got the whole world, to slow down. Nothing. So I don't know. That's got me thinking.
Hey, Naomi.
Hi. Sorry, I was a bit late joining in, but I love what you're saying, and it's lovely to see you all. Derrick, I really like what you were saying there, because what I really notice is on the radio, and then particularly on the radio, because I'm at home with the kids all the time, so I have the radio on, but everyone's going, oh, this is terrible. No, you have to go somewhere else. This is terrible, and oh, everyone's going to be really lonely, and it's a really hard time, and they keep layering on what everybody assumes it is. It is really lonely. This is really hard. And I understand all the, the difficulties around it, but we keep getting reminded how awful it is and how terrible it is to be lonely. And I'm kind of going, if they keep telling us that, eventually we'll start believing it. And I was saying it to my mum. I was like, you don't have to believe what they're reinforcing all the time. We can do this and be okay. And I really, like, that's all I hear everywhere. It's a really difficult time, and all the mums are missing their, their grandchildren on Mother's Day, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're okay without the grubby fingers everywhere, and that's what I really noticed. But really, yes, the 3 principles really helps. But I really noticed that they're making us believe something that isn't necessarily ultimately true. It's just a belief.
Yeah. It's nice to see you again, Naomi. Missed you. One of the things is that, you know, that occurred to me a couple of weeks ago is that it's a bit like Gary said, we're ahead of the curve. You know, we've got something that can help us during this, and I personally feel it's our duty to help everyone else where we can, especially now. And you know, I said that on a call that I was on a few weeks ago, and then, you know, a load of people ended up doing a podcast, which is really cool. But you know, I think right now, and especially because you can pretty much take any sort of finances off the table, so none of us have to think about how we do this to make money or anything. It's just what can we do to serve humanity right now? And for me, that looks like this, you know, right? This is my bit, you know, apart from the boys, obviously. And I encourage everyone to think, what could you do? What writing could you do? What speaking to people could you do? That is putting a different, they call it like a different narrative out there. That is different from that sort of media. I think even the media has tried to help, but yeah, everybody's going to have stress. Everybody's going to have this. It keeps being said over and over. Everybody's going to feel lonely. Well, yeah, like you said, if you hear that often enough, you're going to feel, oh yeah, well, not only do I feel lonely, but if I don't feel lonely, there's something wrong with me. So, you know, it's our job, I think, is to put out what we can, that's different from that narrative, that is about the hope and the possibility and the peace of mind and the different realities and whatever it is that one sees, in any way we can. We can change.
Can I say one last thing?
You can say as many things as you like.
And it's kind of come back, because a while back I emailed Jacqueline about getting some books donated for a group of migrants that I'm helping with. So and we're not working on a 3-principle basis at all. I'm just go in and work with them. So I emailed the 3 Principles Foundation and iHeart, and they all sent books. So we were away in France. We're in complete isolation, shut down at the moment at home. So, but when I got back, there was a parcel up in the local shop. So she left it outside, and my son went and picked it up, and it was a big old box. And I got one bunch of books for the girls in the migrant center, because they're in direct provision, so they can't do anything. But I had the books, but because I'm not there in a 3 principles basis, I was just going, I can't give them to people and I can't hand them out. So I knew I had some of the books, and I knew Chip and Jan were sending me more. I didn't know what they were sending, and I was going, the right time will come to give out the books, and I'll just I'll wait. No, never came. And anyway, then everybody shut down and the meetings were stopped. And then when we got back, the parcel was waiting. It was all the books from Chip and Jan Chapman. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's in lockdown. What a perfect time to give books.
Yay.
So I was going, oh my God. So I met the head of the migrant center and had them all and put loads of website addresses on the inside cover and named them out to people. So everyone got this little parcel of books. How cool was that?
Very cool.
I thought that was a nice, like just waiting and waiting for the right time to have it and to be able for people to receive them.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, brilliant. I'm glad that worked out as well. Brilliant. There's a right time for everything, a right season, a right moment. Yeah. So the other bit that really impacted me, which I sort of covered already from the chapter that I read, was look for common sense, plain old-fashioned common sense. And you just reminded me of that there, Naomi, because it can be as simple as that, can't it? It can be as simple as, it's not appropriate for me to do this right now, so I won't. And then the fact that you waited meant that then at the right time there's a gift. And then it's like, oh yeah, what you know, what a better thing than ever is to have a book right now when they're in isolation. I mean, you know, that is plain old-fashioned common sense, right? And it always thrills me that it can be so normal and pragmatic, and yet the perfect thing at the perfect moment. Del, talk to me. How are you? You have to unmute yourself. Hey. Oh, I still can't hear you. Yes, that's it.
Okay, great. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, we're on the other side of the world here. So, yeah, a lot. I'm so grateful for this understanding on many, many levels. And I think the first one is just to recognize that, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we are going to get, you know, if we do get caught up, if we do get into that fear, to just not judge it, to understand where our experience is coming from, but to just be gentle with ourselves. I came in a little late, so I don't know what was said earlier, but, you know, I noticed for myself last week, I panicked. I just had 2 days where I was an absolute bitch. I was really like in my, oh my God, what, not worried at all about getting ill, which is, you know, but again, self-isolating to respect out of others. And, but financially, I just thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? For a number of reasons, which I won't get into, but I'm mostly in the restaurant business besides coaching and doing what I do. So it felt very real to me. But what I realized was that this security that I thought was out there, you know, just wasn't. I mean, you know that on an intellectual level, but I really, really got how solid I had made my made-up future look, you know. It was like, well, I have this and I have this and I'm going to be okay and everything's going to be okay. And it sort of went, and it just disappeared. And, but as you said, we're all going through that. The whole world is going through that. And again, the beauty in this whole experience, I've never felt more connected. I live in Malibu in California, and my immediate little area about 14, 15 months ago now, November of 2018, half of my neighbors' lost their houses. So I'm surrounded by this sort of war zone of burnt out houses, and it was like we knew what that felt like here, but nobody else in the rest of the world knew what that really felt like. And I'm so acutely aware that the whole world is feeling this. Mm-hmm. The feeling connected. And again, like, I'm sorry, I've forgotten his name now, but I think it was Gary was saying about the planet has had a chance to breathe. That, as you said, the waters are clearer, the air is clearer. I mean, I'm seeing islands in the Pacific Ocean. I can see layers of islands. I've never seen that before, but it's because the air is clearer.
Right.
But the sense of community and coming together is, we're very much like that here, because we're like a little island, and we're always there for each other. And we have a lot of sort of so-called disasters, whether they're fires or mudslides or earthquakes, whatever they are. So we're sort of used to that. But to see it go so beyond just my community and seeing everybody, and especially being part of the 3P community, just seeing, I think I'm busier this week on more, free calls, webinars, groups. It's like, I'm just like, wow, but we're so lucky that we have this platform. We're so lucky that we can still have community and connect with each other. and see each other via Zoom, and yeah, just bring hope. I mean, just even in my little community, I'm going to be shopping for the elderly later, and we're going to be sort of smiling and waving through windows at each other and talking, but keeping our good sort of like 10 feet distance. And there's just such a beautiful feeling that's arisen from this. But again, as I said, for those that find themselves going in and out of the fear and then the waking up to what is the only security we really have, which is that connection, as you were saying earlier, to that, you know, that wisdom, that innate wisdom that's within us, and that connectedness with each other. You know, if we forget, we're human. We'll remember again, but just to be gentle with ourselves while we do that and go through this together.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this as well. Normally I'm busy on a Monday and I'm not today, so I'm like, yay, I can jump on.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said about this helping you see that security doesn't come from anywhere else but from within. That's really cool. I hadn't sort of thought about it in that way, and that's really highlighted. This has really highlighted that, hasn't it? Everything for me, everything I thought I was doing, everything I thought the business looked like, everything I thought I was going to be doing for the rest of the year is all gone. Like a tornado, just ripped it all apart. You know, all the conferences, all the travel, all the this, all the that. Well, one of the things that happened to me, because I'm writing a book, I wrote about my experience over the last few weeks, and I wrote about what my week would have looked like last week, and then what it did look like. And when I was writing about what my week would have looked like, I was horrified how busy it was. I mean, obviously I'm in charge of my week, but when I wrote, I mean, I thought, how can one person do all of that stuff? And I've been trying to do all of that stuff over and over and over and over and over. And for me, it's really highlighted that I don't have to do that anymore. You know, there'll be a business, there'll be a Beyond Recovery in some format or other, or there'll be something that I'm doing with my life. I don't need to do that anymore. And that really hit me in the face, is that, wow, look where I've got myself to, where I'm doing, 20 or 30 things in a week that are huge in terms of needing energy and time and space, and I haven't let any space around any of it. It's all crammed in, and that woke me up, because maybe there was a sense of self in some of that, or security, or something that I was bolstering myself up on. And when I look back now, it seems like madness. And I'm like, thank you for the gift of being able to clear all that out, and not being able to do it. Yeah.
And what I felt too is in those moments of fear of this so-called made-up material wealth I thought that was out there, as that sort of like disappeared, I immediately thought, oh my God, I am so wealthy for what I know and what's inside me. And all of a sudden it was just, I got to share this. Like there was an urgency to share this wealth, to just, it just sort of happened, that sort of crumbled and this came up, and it's like, get out there,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Hey, Chris. You're on mute.
Hello, everyone.
Have you just come home from work?
Yes, Yes, I have.
I saw you nodding when Del was saying about the wealth, how wealthy you feel inside.
That made so much sense.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I asked, once I had this understanding, I asked for happiness. And happiness is just a peace of mind. That's when she said that, I overstood what she was trying to say. 'Cause, yeah.
Definitely. It's really nice to have you on here.
Thank you for having me on. This is different. I've seen a lot of people on here. A lot of people.
So when we meet, we often just meet. Just Chris is part of the team, so we obviously just meet with the team. So yeah, let's do something different.
Yeah. Oh, what? We're gonna do this as well for the Saturday meeting we were meant to do?
We could do.
If that'd be nice.
We could do. Well, there you go. Chris has invited you all to our Saturday meeting. We normally meet physically once a month in London, and we're obviously going to move that to online. And you're all invited. Come and have a cup of tea with us. Bring a cake. Bring a cup of tea. Well done, Chris.
No problem. The more the merrier.
Isn't it? It's a really good idea. Yeah. Anybody else want to have a Alan?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love the way that this conversation is going. It's really what's been percolating for me over the last few days. There's been times where it's kind of felt like this could have been difficult. You know, I've got elderly parents, I've got a sister in America with no health insurance, I've got all sorts of stuff that seem to be quite vulnerable at the moment. And yet, all I can see is that my neighbours are just being more open and friendly with me. You know, I've got this thing about when I walk towards more elderly people, I'll walk across the road. You know, I've been doing that now for about a week. It just seemed to be like the obvious thing to do. And when Jacqueline said that one of our colleagues had been possibly been affected, I had the same thought. Obviously, I was there that week too. And I got a bit of a sore throat, wondered if that was something, and still don't know. So I just wanted to kind of act as if I wanted to keep it away. If I had something, I wanted to keep it away from other people. So I've been kind of acting like that when I have had to go out or go for a walk or get some exercise or something. And it's surprising, it's really surprising the response you get from people. And the smiles and the waves and the hellos and the, you know, I live in central London, so we just don't, you know, we never respond to each other unless we absolutely have to. And it's fascinating, this sense of community that bubbles up around these times. I've had lovely notes through the door asking if I need anything. And yeah, I'm fascinated with that. And I feel absolutely so lucky today when I was sitting out on the terrace reading a book in the sun, knowing what I know, knowing that there's nothing else that I can do today. There's no one else that I need to speak to. I can just sit in the sun. And there's something about that that fascinates me, because that isn't how I used to lead my life. I used to be, if I wasn't doing something, I'd be worried about the fact that I wasn't doing it. It's freed up so much space. And just like Jacqueline and other people have said, I'm concerned, you know. But most of the time, I feel like I have a choice about being concerned. Yeah. Yeah. I never said it like that before, but that seems very true to me at the moment. Love seeing your faces too.
That's lovely, Alan. had a message today. I found this thing in Facebook. In messages, there's on your picture, there's like there's a number. On my picture, there was a number, and I pressed on it, and then I found some hidden messages. I think that they're from people who aren't connected to me, so they go into a different folder. Anyway, I've never ever looked in there, so I had messages back from the beginning of 2019. Anyway, one of the messages was from one of our boys in Onley, Dean Harley. Chris, you must know him. I don't know if you remember him. Saying from August last year, saying, I'm like, reaching out to get in touch, fond memories of the Beyond Recovery groups and everything. So I've reached out to him, but again, I thought, wow, how everything just happens in that the guys are reaching out to us now. We're not chasing them down. They're reaching out to. I mean, it was August, so hopefully he's still got the same number because I've gone back. But how they're reaching out to us and they're coming to us, and that there was a long period of time where I went through some agonising over, how do we keep track of them and help them when they're out? And now we don't have to do that. We don't have to keep track of anybody. We just do what we do and people come to us. And I never imagined that would happen. And then with you and Del and Chris talking about community, that's what I'm seeing, is that we're always creating this community with ourselves in other people. And so, of course, that flows towards you. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? And that's being created now out there on a mass scale. And yes, there are some turbulent waters, and there's some naysayers, if you like, and yes, there's some difficulties, but underlying all of it is this sense of oneness and community, and that we're all in this together, no matter where you live. It's a leveler. Like, it doesn't matter where you live, what you've got. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter gender, colour, sexuality. None of it matters anymore. None of it. It's like everybody has the same problem in one variation or another, but it's all the same problem. And we knew that right before, but now we're really seeing that. And everybody has the same answer, which is community and to be of service and to help each other out during this time. And I just see that as such a huge, I'm so grateful for that as a leveler. That above this virus, above everything else that's ever, all the activists and everything that's ever happened, this can be the thing that brings all of that together and bear fruit out of all of that. Because, we've heard those messages, and now all the different people are coming together and playing out into those messages. And it's a gift.
That's beautiful, Jacqueline. And I just wanted to mention, because you mentioned an old boy there, and Els has got back to me, and I wanted to say that in front of everybody so that they all know.
Good.
I don't know what he said yet, but I'll obviously message him after this.
Good.
And on that, Jacqueline, as you just reminded and said it, you told me earlier, but as you said it now, I've got my phone in front of me, and I just looked for Dean on Facebook and found him. I just sent him a quick message as well, so.
Oh, good.
Him from both angles.
Yes. So it's been amazing. I do love to do a roundup where you say your name and where you're living, and either a word or a feeling that where you're at right now, what you're going to take away from this time together. And what I'll do is I'll call out names so that we can go. I'll call out names. So I'm going to call out Caroline's name because she's at the top of my screen.
Am I unmuted now? I
Yeah.
think so. Hi guys. So I'm Caroline Powell and I live in Hertfordshire. And so describe with one word or just a feeling or
whatever you like.
I just feel that things that I thought, it's more like quite a right realization for me. Even with this understanding, there were things that I thought were important that are really being highlighted that they're really not that important. And it's coming back to that connection, that oneness. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. It's but I do agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot of changes just in general, and I do feel there's a really strong underlying, like, natural organic element to this. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it unfolds and where it goes. So, but thank you for having me today as well.
Thank you for coming. Gary.
In a word, by the way, I'm Gary from up on the Norfolk coast. Not originally, but that's where I live now. Tucked out of the way, and I just feel so blessed at the moment to be where I am, even though there's a lot of challenges, and the simplicity of how I see life at the moment. Even though, as I say, there's going to be maybe some tough times ahead, but it's just a blessing to be able to see things in such a simple and connected way. So.
Lovely. Thank you for coming. Ron.
Yeah, my name's Ron. I'm from Florida, and what occurs to me is the amount of community is not. I mean, like you guys have been talking about the amount of community, but it's really happening at work. I have 65 team members, and no one's taking advantage of the situation. Long before our government offered to do anything, I told everybody to take off time if they needed to take care of children or if they had an illness, and the company would pay for them and stand behind them, and their safety was the most important thing. And there hasn't been one person use that. I mean, no one's taking advantage of the situation. They're all just pulling together. It's really really wonderful.
Wow. Wonderful. It's really nice to see you. Del.
Well, I'm Del, and I live in Malibu, as I mentioned earlier. Can I have 3 words?
Yeah.
I've got just this incredible feeling of gratitude and love and connection. It's just really sums it up for me, how I've been feeling for the last couple of weeks or so.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Derrick.
Yeah, I'm Derrick from London. How I feel right now is grateful for the understanding that I'm at this space in my life where I can be grateful for the understanding, but also it's making me see, just this webinar alone, as it made me see the opportunities that come out of this time as well. There can be some amazing opportunities that come, because like I said before, I think it's going to be a time when you look back, it'll be a before coronavirus and an after. But in this time here, whereas before I might have had fear and trepidation about what's happening in the future, that's why I'm understanding, because it's made me look past that and just see opportunities. Even to say, as Del said, usually she's busy, so she wouldn't have been able to join on this webinar. And she come in and said something beautiful, and that's an opportunity that only come around through the quiet times or the times we're in now. So a lot of things, if you just look past everything and look for the opportunities, there's so much opportunities it's just endless. It's just endless. And if you really break it down, some of them can only be born out of a time like this. And those are the ones that will last forever. Yeah.
Beautiful. Right. Alan.
Yeah, Alan, Central London, super connected. Really connected at the moment. That's a lovely thing to feel. So thank you.
Thank you. Christopher. Mute. You're on mute.
Can I do 3 as well, please?
Yeah.
If nice is a feeling, I'm feeling nice, thankful and grateful, and to everyone, remember to remember.
Oh,
You
beautiful.
can overstand that, remember to remember. In these times here as well, yeah. Take from what you said as well, Jacqueline, we're all from one root, all from one flower, just a different root.
Oh.
So yeah, in these times here, remember to remember. So I leave it at that, and I will take what Derrick said as well, opportunity. So yeah, I'll keep that one in mind. Derrick, I like that one, opportunities. And I'm from East London, by the way. Sorry, my name is Christopher. Sorry. sorry.
You can do it in reverse order.
Sorry. Christopher from East London.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Joe.
Hi.
Hi. Joe from
I'm
Australia.
Joe. I'm from Australia, yes. On the eastern seaboard. So I mean, I don't really know what to say. I think I've sort of practiced this all summer because I was on my own for most of the summer, and because of the bushfires here. And but what I'm sort of seeing is that people are, besides when there's kind of like a wave of fear that seems to come over and people then get panicked, when that settles, people seem to naturally fall into that it seems to be a natural thing that people want to be connected. So being out of the busyness and out of all the sort of, the busyness of everyday life, sort of having that turned off really in a way has just allowed that kind of response that I think people really want anyway. They want it. It's like we desire that, and I think that's what's showing up. And so it's a matter of each of us just responding in the moment, and that might be in the form of an opportunity, or I mean, in a way, everything's an opportunity, I suppose. Every moment is an opportunity. But it's just responding in the moment to what's happening, whether you're by yourself somewhere or whether you have to go down to the shop to get something and you run into, not literally, because we have to be 4 feet apart. But yeah, it's sort of whatever comes up, whatever pops up, really. And there seems to be a desire for people to for connection. Everyone really wants that because we are all in this together. Anyway, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Suki, how has it been for you, your first time?
Hi. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was lovely to connect with everyone, and you know, also to hear Sid. I haven't been part of like a Three Principles community for probably about a year now. I've just been doing my own thing. So what happened for me when I came across Sid is I just managed to pick up art. Like I loved doing art when I was young, and it's something that I find naturally healing. So I've just been doing that like for the past 2 years, doing the course, and I've come to the end of that now. And now it's just we're in this strange time. It's really lovely to connect with all of you and to hear Sid, and I feel really blessed. I just feel like everyone's just, you know, stopped in their tracks. They've had to rethink things, and I feel really happy to just connect with my daughter. Like, she's not in school. Last week we kind of had a scare. We thought she had the coronavirus, but she didn't. She just had like a 24-hour bug. And it's just realising that those kind of things are going around. People have hay fever as well, and how easily, like watching the news, we can get very stressed out and anxious. So coming and listening to this and hearing everybody, it's just reminded me of how we can connect with other people, you know, even if you're not in the same room, remotely. Yeah, so it's been really lovely. So thank you.
Good, thank you. And we'll use the same Zoom on Saturday at 12 for anybody who wants to connect. And we'll also be doing this on next Monday at 6. But I'm going to go now to Mr. Wilson. Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just
Have you been at work?
I worked today because the lady had no other removal men to like move her in this morning. So, and I done a job with her last night with Chris.
Oh.
So she had no one else for the morning, so we helped her in the morning, and then yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
About it.
Well, we're sort of finished. But was there anything that you wanted to share, or anything that you'd like to?
There was one thing I've been itching to share with anybody.
Yeah, do it. Share it with us.
It's been bugging me a bit, but it's the way. I don't know if it's a question or if it's an understanding, but I know that the way we trust is very important in like being present, if that makes sense.
Tell me what you mean.
So, like, to be present, we have to trust. It's like a selfless trust. So not as an I don't know how to put it. It's words that is coming. You know what it's all up here, but it's coming out here different. So it's like we trust every day, right? Everything, the food we eat, the air we breathe, it's all selfless trust. Like, we don't say, yeah, we're gonna trust it today, or today I don't trust it. We automatically trust it. So when we're in our feelings or something, I feel that we don't trust our wisdom and we just go with our mind, if you know what I mean. So trust in your wisdom is like it's kind of selfish, you know what I mean. So you do it without trying to do it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense.
Let me see if I think you. I don't know. I'm trying to understand. But let me see if I got it. I was talking to Derrick like a couple of days ago when I was saying when we was younger, we was fearless. Where we didn't have no fear. We just, if you tell me to jump over a bridge, I will do it. When we was young, we just jump over a bridge. Fearless, yeah? Once we start growing up, we become afraid of everything else apart from ourselves. We become afraid of our inabilities to do things, or just we block ourselves. We stay in contained blockage. Like same thing you're going through. Everything like what the government are telling us, we can trust it, or we can trust our instinct by going outside. So is that what you're trying to? Because I understand it that way. That's how I broke it down. Is that the way?
To be present.
Yeah.
Like to be present.
Not yesterday. Not yesterday. Not in the future. Right now, being present, being trusting. You trust yourself right now in this present moment.
Right. Like it's sort of like a trust in you and your environment and your wisdom to be present at this time being right now to soak up everything around you. Do you know what I mean? So I feel that when you're not present, it's kind of that not self. Do you know what I mean? That selfless is just, you're not really trusting yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because you're more, do you know what I mean? You're just not sure. You're not sure, so you're not trusting yourself, and you're going over it, and there's just no self-trust. Do you know what I mean? Selfless trust, like.
Yes, I think I can hear you now. I think so. So let me see if I can hear what you're saying.
Please.
What it sounded like then was that when you're present, you're trusting nature, wisdom. You're just trusting naturally. You're just present. And when you're not present, you're in mistrust, because that's when you start contemplating, thinking about this, wondering about that. But when you're present, there's a natural just being wherever you're at, in total trust of wherever you're at. So you can be present because you're not having to. Is that what you mean?
That's the best analogy so far.
That was amazing, because I saw it as he was saying it. I feel it. I've never thought about that before. But yeah, when I'm present, I'm in trust, because I'm not thinking about that. I'm just being very present in that moment, and everything is perfect when I'm present. When I'm not present, I'm in mistrust because of something going on where I'm thinking that I'm having to manage it or whatever. I love it. And anyone else want to say anything on it?
I think where he said that examples just keyed it in so beautiful for me, where he said, when you breathe, nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks, before I breathe, is it safe to breathe? Because it's just so natural to breathe, and you trust the air that you're breathing in. It's even just the same to trust your own wisdom with just as much 100%. And when you're in the present, you're trusting in that wisdom. And that hit home. That was so nice. That was there. True. That is true.
Lovely. Anyone else want to? Yes, Dal.
Yeah, I always have when I'm sort of centered or present, that is just home. That's where we are, just living in that wisdom, that innate well-being, and that's always there. For me, it feels like very much in my sort of solar plexus, and the only thing that can ever distract me from it, because it's always there, it never goes anywhere else, it's always there. But what I can do is get like pulled or distracted into insecure thinking, and any of my insecure thinking is always to do with the past or the future. It's never the present moment. So if I'm feeling that insecurity or that pain or discomfort, I'm like, I just got distracted. And I go plop, and I just back down into, as who was it, Mr. Wilson. Wilson's name. So it's just that I got caught up. I just got distracted. And then I plop back into that space of, I call it peace and love, because that's exactly how it feels. It's just, there is no worry or fear or mistrust or anything, because it just can't exist there. And that only exists up here for me.
Does that help, Wilson?
100%. It does. It does. It's like two spaces, you know what I mean? A space of just doubt or a space of love, peace and love, literally. And that's where it falls down to. When you fall into that space of peace and love, you're actually present. So I mean, everything else shines. But no, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We don't want to go. Boys, we're at the end. Boys and girls, we're at the end. And I just want to say thank you all so much. It's been amazing. Really loved this connection this evening, and I hope to see you on Saturday. And if not, or as well as, I hope to see you next Monday. Same time, same back channel.
12 o'clock, people, Saturday.